Hi, everyone. I am thrilled to be coming to you through your screens. My name is Dana. A little about me. I have been told that I ask people about whether they've heard of the 6 paths of public service and civic engagement in the same kind of way a religious missionary might ask you about your relationship to God. But I'm not here today to recruit you into a career of public service, at least not directly. I want to talk to you about the AmeriCorps, what drives people to serve their communities, and what we might do to expand that. So if you've never heard of the AmeriCorps, it is a federal initiative which engages folks to volunteer in order to help others and meet critical needs in their community. Volunteers are based in community organizations, they're entrenched, they do capacity building or direct service work, mostly on anti-poverty projects. This is actually a picture of me and other members of my cohort on the 20th anniversary of AmeriCorps when I was serving my first ever year of national service. That's me right there. So let me tell you a story. In 2013, I sat in a classroom at a college in Rochester, New York with 30, 40th other 20-somethings, all brand new AmeriCorps members. And together we read Martin Luther King Jr.'s sermon, The Drum Major Instinct. And when I tell you it was the defining moment of my life, I am not joking. This speech is so widely known in national service circles that it's on our t-shirts, right? Everyone can be great because everyone can serve. If you haven't read it, the central idea is to use that inner drive for greatness and glory that we all have. King called this the drum major instinct, to use that in service of others, which that is the greatest human pursuit. The great issue of life is to harness the drum major instinct. Keep feeling the need to be first, but I want you to be first in love and first in generosity, right? I bought in 100%. Where do I sign? I'm in. So years later, after AmeriCorps and Peace Corps and 7 different cities and years of national service, here I am in Philadelphia, working with my team to run one of the larger AmeriCorps Vista programs in Philadelphia at a small office here at Penn. It's incredible work. I adore it. Coincidentally, we are in recruitment season right now. So multiple times a day, I'm asking potential new service members, what is motivating you to join the AmeriCorps? I have volunteers who join for the education award, put something on their resume, make friends, change careers, have something to do. But at the end of the day, they're all here dedicating a year of their time to Philadelphia. And that's kind of the point. People who run AmeriCorps programs know that all these different motivations for service don't automatically create success, and vice versa, right? People who joined due to the intrinsic drum major instinct to serve are not the ones who see, not necessarily the only ones, rather, who see benefit after service. So that brings me to brass tacks, right? My research. What is the benefit to society to all of these volunteers, and does it matter what initially motivated them to join? In short, a lot of benefit, and no, it does not make a difference. There is a strong and significant relationship between whether a member has a meaningful year of service and whether they engaged more civically afterwards. So let me break down what I mean by having a meaningful year of service and also what it means to civically engage. First, when we look at close of service surveys for all of AmeriCorps Vista members in 2018, we're looking at things which would indicate meaningful service experiences. Like, do members report that they made a contribution to their society? Did they re-examine their beliefs? Were they exposed to new ways of thinking? Did they make a difference? Similarly, when we talk about civic engagement, we talk about whether folks who completed their service voted more, joined a community organization, donated, continued to volunteer in their free time, or even just continued to educate themselves. So the next step is looking at that relationship, right, between these two things. Can we predict which volunteers have the most profound increase in civic engagement by looking at the members who had a positive and meaningful experience in the AmeriCorps? Yes, we absolutely can. The data is pretty clear on that. It's almost obvious though, so let's take it a step further and look at whether a member's initial motivation to join impacts that relationship. In other words, would people who are not otherwise inclined to do a service year benefit from a year like Vista if they did not already have that intrinsic sense of civic responsibility that leads to being civically engaged, or even leads to joining the AmeriCorps in the first place, right? That drum major instinct. It's the very interesting and surprising thing is it makes no difference. AmeriCorps alumni increase their civic engagement no matter what led them to AmeriCorps. So this brings me to this crazy, radical, and fringe idea that is never actually ever taken seriously, but I think should be. everyone should spend a year of their life volunteering. Truly, this is the most gentle, radical idea of all time. But seriously, a year of mandatory service is supported by the data. When you take that relationship between meaningful service and increased civic engagement that I spoke about, and you take into account the different motivations, no motivation really moved the needle on those post-service benefits to community. People who joined for the education award still voted more. People who joined to have something to do while they took a break from school still donated at a higher rate, and on and on and on. It didn't matter why people joined. AmeriCorps alumni across the board became better citizens. With this, I think we can begin to extrapolate whether service compelled by law can have an equally as strong civic participation outcomes. I'm hearing everywhere that American democracy is at its riskiest position it's ever been, and the health of our institutions is at stake. Everywhere there's this debate about how to engage Americans, how to bring them together. And I think we have the answer in front of us. It's not a monumental stretch to get from knowing that no initial motivation to serve in AmeriCorps really prohibits folks from seeing those civic engagement increases, to hypothesizing that those benefits would be consistent even if that initial motivation was that service is mandatory. It becomes less crazy to think that we could have everyone volunteering once we realize that everyone benefits from volunteering, no matter why they're volunteering. So, do I need more evidence? Yes. Is this only the tip of the iceberg? Sure, absolutely. Is this all predicated on making service more accessible and service members more economically stable? Oh boy, of course. However, this undoubtedly could be the first baby step of many, many baby steps that leads to every American spending time contributing to their community. And wouldn't that be powerful? Not to be cheesy, but we could all be great because we could all be serving. Thank you.